Hey everyone, you are watching the next Comedy is Calling show in partnership with Capital Cider House. Thank you so much to Capital Cider House for supporting comedy during this time. More on that later. But everyone, if you have been keeping up with Comedy is Calling, which I certainly hope you have because it brings me a lot of joy, then you know what you're in store for, which is a comedy show that just gives me such a thrill and some semblance of routine that has kept up with me throughout this unprecedented time. The people that are about to perform are some of my favorite people, honestly, in the entire world. I'm gonna say, so I think you're gonna love them. I love them, and without further ado, we're gonna start off with some stand-up. We have some fantastic stand-ups about to do some funny jokes for you all, and I am very eager to start off with one person who just always brings a smile to my face. Very, very funny. Please make some noise for the very funny Walter Gottlieb, everyone.
Hey, thank you so much, Stacey. Thank you for doing this, and shout out to all my fellow comedians. Some of whom are my generation and some of whom are younger. Like, I'm a baby boomer, but I'm at the tail end of the baby boom. And here's what that's like. When you're born at the ass end of the baby boom, you're too young to know where you were when JFK was shot, but too old to remember what you were doing when you heard Elton John was gay. Okay. That's the dividing line. I do envy the younger generations because they have the energy that we baby boomers used to have. Like, believe me, I wanted to go to the Black Lives Matter protests in DC. I really did, downtown. And I asked my daughter, like, where do you urinate during these things? That's my question. And she says, oh, you just hold it till the protest is over. And I'm like, till it's over? I wouldn't even make it through the first chant. No justice? No. Fuck, I gotta pee.
Yeah.
Gotta pee? There's no bathroom. No justice? No pee. No justice? No pee. But in fairness, I did go to 2 protests in the suburbs because I want to do my part. And we're marching and we're chanting and I'm feeling really good. And then I look around, I'm like, fuck, there are a lot of white people here. Like, it's almost exclusively white. And let me tell you, an all-white crowd at a Black Lives Matter rally is like an all-black crowd at a Michael Bublé concert. Something's just missing, you know what I mean? Anyway, the younger generations, and I'm not counting Caitlin and Stacey, but they're always griping about us baby boomers, right? They say that we left the earth in shitty condition, everything's our fault, our pop cultural references are 30 years out of date. And I'm like, hey, we didn't start the fire, okay? Always burning since the world's been burning, Daddy-o. Anyway, I'm not as good as the young people are with technology. It does flummox me. Like, I found out that I can't trust my Fitbit. I can't trust it. Yesterday, I cleaned my closet and it told me, oh, I see you've been swimming. I'm like, I know I'm getting older, but is my short-term memory that bad that I swim today? And then I realized I was cleaning out the top shelf of the closet and Fitbit gave me credit for 30 laps. Today, just to see what would happen, I cleaned out my entire garage and Fitbit says, congratulations, you just swam the English Channel. I mean, I thought I was decluttering, but apparently I'm fucking Michael Phelps now. Like, who knew? So I do suck at technology. I messed up my first virtual doctor's visit. I fucked up with a dermatologist because before you see the doctor, you have to fill out an online form and then you upload pictures of whatever's bothering you. So embarrassing. But unfortunately, I mixed up the doctor's form with the sign up for Stacey's show. Stacey, if you got a pic of that rash on my stomach, Sorry that you had to see that shit. And no wonder when I asked Dr. Dronovali what I have, he said a tight 10. So, Stacey, if you could DM me a script for some 5% Lidex cream, oh, that'd be awesome. So apparently I've been butt dialing a lot of folks, which is embarrassing, or as I like to put it, my ass has some people to talk to. Okay? This problem has been going on for years, and you'd think I'd have solved it by now. When my youngest daughter, who's now 17, was little, I used to sing her to sleep with songs from musicals because I'm into that. And I was singing the song from Rent. Open your door, I'll be your tenant. Ain't got much baggage to lay at your feet. I looked down, I realized the phone had butt dialed my electrician. I'm like, oh shit, it left a voicemail. Like, maybe you won't hear it, maybe you won't hear it. But sure enough, in the morning, he goes, I got a call from him, and he says, Walter, it's Jason from JKJ Electric. And I'm playing it off like, hey, Jason, how are you? He says, I'm fine. How are you? And I'm like, I'm listening to the cast album of La Caja Fall, but let's do that heavy up real soon, okay, buddy? So I am seeing some very strange electrical service trucks these days. This one I saw on my block, it's called Tomato Electric. An odd choice for a name, don't you think? Now, I slept through most of high school physics, but I'm fairly sure tomatoes do not conduct electricity. Am I right? And check out this mascot. What are they thinking?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm not much of a fighter, but I'm fairly sure I could kick this guy's ass. Okay? So, health authorities are now discouraging people from having sex with partners outside of their social bubble, just as things are reopening. And they say that for now, you are your own best sex partner, which is a lie. I am my own worst sexual partner. I know this because I complain to me about it all the time. There's zero foreplay. It's over too quick. When it's over, I just roll over and don't even make sure myself is satisfied. Apparently, I'm a very selfish lover to myself. Have you ever wondered what men did before Viagra? This is true, God.
No.
I read about an ancient remedy from Timbuktu. It was a little weird. To cure erectile dysfunction, you would lick the dry, pulverized penis of a lizard, which, for me would be a little problematic. First of all, does Care First cover that shit? And second of all, if I lick the pulverized penis of a lizard, does that make me gay? or does it just make me really horny for Geico? I guess. There was another old-time cure where the man would burn the toenail from the right leg of a cock and fumigate himself with the smoke. And that begs the question, if your cock has a leg, does it matter if you're impotent? Because little leg could prop that shit up, right? So finally, there is this cute little animal circulating on the internet called a quokka. Have any of you seen this? It lives off the coast of Australia, Western Australia, and it looks like it's smiling and super friendly, but apparently quokkas are vicious. Or as one article I read said, if you cross them, they will fuck you up. So, a bicyclist in Western Australia thought he had accidentally poisoned one of these things by giving the creature a bit of cheese, and it passed out. So he stuffed the animal in his backpack and rode on his bicycle for help to the nearest town. But before he got there, the quokka climbed out of the backpack, shrieked in his ear, and bit the shit out of his neck. So then the guy needed the medical attention, not the quokka, which makes us reevaluate, are they really just cute and furry, friendly creatures, or are they downright psychopathic?
Yeah.
Is it nature's idea of a little joke to take something that looks harmless but is really dangerous, like poison ivy or Mike Pence? So as you know, there's an animal in my house, evil, bad kitty, who you're all familiar with by now probably. And he is just as dangerous as the quokka, if not more. He is a champion food stealer. And the other day, he stole a pork chop from the kitchen, and I chased him into the basement to get it back, which was a mistake. And he was on the basement floor, like with his entire body wrapped around this pork chop, growling and hissing at me. And when I tried to get it, like he scratched a 2-inch, gash in my hand. But in the end, folks, I got the pork chop back. This is called winning, folks. It's winning. So suck it, evil bad kitty. Suck it. All right. That's my time. Thank you so much to all of you. I love all of you. Thank you, Stacey.
Oh, yeah, everyone. Keep it going for Walter Gottlieb. Thank you, Walter. Okay, everyone, we've reached the point of the show where I'm going to do stand-up. Your host, Crazy. I have a few topics to discuss today, and I'm scrolling to them on my phone. And okay, who here is a fan of Carly Simon?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. We have a few fans, a few kind of fans. I'm a big fan of Carly Simon. So is like everyone in my family. Not my favorite Carly Simon song, to be honest, but I think everyone knows Carly Simon for that song, You're So Vain, where she's talking about this guy who thinks he's so vain, he thinks that the song she's singing is about him. I think everyone knows that song, and it's like, when you really think about it, hear me out on this, when you really think about that song, is he vain, or is he just very anxious? Because there have been numerous times in my life when I walked into a social situation and people will be talking, and like without question, I'll be like, "Are you talking about me?" And it's like, I'll just walk into a party and I'll be like, "Are you talking about me?" And they're like, "No, we're just drinking," and I'll have to leave the party. So, is he vain? I don't know. I think he might just be an anxious guy. Carly Simon, if you ever hear this, I need an answer. Who here can play the guitar?
Ukulele.
Great. Hey, Blansett can. All right, everyone. Here's what you should know about me. I'm a hobby hijacker. If someone tells me they can do something, I'm like, do it. Hey, you're in a car, so you can't play the guitar for me right now. But it's like, but since I've been in my house for a long time, several people have tried to do new hobbies, including picking up playing the guitar. A lot of people seemingly, for whatever reason, bought guitars years ago, never learned how to play them. The time is now to learn how to play them. I understand. Whenever I hear someone knows how to play the guitar, immediately I'm like, play Alanis Morissette. That's like the number one thing that gives me joy. I like usurp the entire conversation. I'm like, Alanis Morissette. But I don't just want to hear any Alanis Morissette. I want to hear Head Over Feet, which is the best love song in the entire world, and I want everyone to listen to it right after the show. Do you have any only children here in the audience? Kind of forlorn. You know, I'm an only child, what I like to call a lonely child, because that's what I was growing up. But you know, the thing about only children is we get a bad rap, I think, and it really makes me upset, to be very honest with you. One thing that people say about only children is that we don't like to share. And here's what I'm going to say about that. I don't like to share. In fact, I hate it, but it's not because I'm an only child. It's because sharing is stupid. Here's why. Here's why, everyone. In life, we only have a limited amount of resources. If we share them, how would we have moved forward if we just kept sharing our resources? Like, on one hand, yeah, sharing is a nice thing to do, but just from a resources perspective, I just don't understand. I hated sharing as a kid especially so much. In Judaism, there's this tradition during a Jewish holiday to leave the door open for Elijah. So if you don't know what this is, basically parents will try to entertain their kids by being like, oh, Stacey, open the door for Elijah so Elijah can come in. The first time we did this, I was so excited for this visitor Elijah because I was lonely. I wanted a friend. I ran out to the table. I opened the door when you came back. So this, in the hullabaloo, parents will take a glass of water and they'll pour some water out. And then when the kid comes back, they'll be like, Stacey, oh my gosh, Elijah came, and look, Elijah drank this water. I was really pissed off at Elijah. Like, you come into my house, you drink my water, you don't do anything to me, and I wanted a friend. And I was so angry at Elijah, we couldn't do anything else with Elijah in my house. We stopped inviting him in. That's how much I hate sharing. But you know what? Water is a precious resource. So Elijah, you could have taken anything else. You know what I was thinking a lot about the other day? This is a weird tangent, but I'm gonna say it. How your body gets used to so many things in life. Like, your first sunburn you get is really bad, but then after that your body kind of adapts and it knows to either protect itself, or it doesn't, nothing really hurts or feels as bad as the first time you've experienced something. Except for this one thing, which is I'm about to tell you all, which is vomiting. Vomiting always feels as weird as it does. I'm almost 30 years old. It had never felt, it never feels familiar. Every time I'm about to vomit, I'm like, what's this strange sensation? It takes 30 minutes for me to even recognize it. And then when I finally do, I'm like, you know what? I always make this mistake. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to swallow it. I don't even need to vomit it. I'm just going to swallow it. It never works, and I end up making a huge mess everywhere. Everyone, learn from my mistakes. Don't just grab a bucket. Don't try to be the bigger person. Don't try to not ruin a party by not excusing yourself. Anyway, everyone, I'm a weird person. Okay, here we go. When I was a kid, hello, cat. When I was a kid, there's a cat here. When I was a kid, that wasn't part of it. That was a surprise cat. When I was a kid, this is a joke, everyone. I wanted to do a lot of things. And adults would always say, you know what, Stacey, you can't do it right now. And when I would ask why, they'd be like, stop complaining. When you're older, you can do whatever you want. Teachers would say this to me especially. You know what I'm going to say? You can't. When you're older, you can't do whatever you want. Today, when I was a kid, I really wanted a skateboard. And I couldn't do it. And now, as an almost 30-year-old, I can't do it. Now, even when I try, because my body hurts, I'm not as flexible as I was. I've progressively gotten less flexible. I can barely sit down in a chair. Especially if the chair is a rolly chair. Have you ever had that experience where you try to sit down in a rolly chair and it slowly rolls away from you, so then you slowly just sit on the floor? Pretty bad stuff, everyone. Here's what I'm going to end with. I've been playing this video game lately called The Last of Us, which is probably one of my favorite. Which is probably one of the best video games. No, Dave. I'm not going to say oh no. I'm going to say oh yes, because without this game, I don't know if I would have gotten out of bed to to do the show because The Last of Us has kept me going. Basically, it's like a zombie apocalypse game.
Yeah.
Something that annoys me, though, is when people talk about the zombie apocalypse, always society breaks down. Society breaks down and like people are not doing what they're supposed to do. And you see like all of these like dumpsters that are overflowing with trash, and you're supposed to believe that like trash pickup and those services have not happened. And it's like, you know what? I think we need to give more credit to waste management because those people keep it going. We're in the middle of a global health pandemic right now. Waste management has kept things going. Those hardworking people have continued to recycle our recycling and throw out our trash to everyone. That's the last thing I think that would go. If anything, like a zombie apocalypse happened, like I definitely think the first thing that would go would be furniture. Like we would stop making furniture. I think, anyway, what I'm saying is we need to be kinder to the people who are cleaning up our waste because they know what they're doing. And everyone, that's my talk. Thank you for listening because very kind of you. And everyone, at this time, I want to bring up our next stand-up. Very, very funny guy. Please make some noise for Dave McOwen, everyone.
Yay.
Hi, everyone. Oh, this Stacey said is sponsored by IKEA, so stock up before it's too late. I hope you're doing well. It's getting weird. I don't know if you've noticed. Maybe it's just me. Here's an example. I have a weekly lunch Zoom call with some coworkers, and one of them said, "Hey, what are you doing tomorrow? Do you want to go Nazi hunting?" What? First of all, what? Second of all, yes. Like, I don't know. I don't want to judge your life, but that's an exciting question. I have never been asked that question before. I'm invested. And I know he's just being polite about asking about I don't think you have to ask if I have plans. I will cancel plans. I'm not going to hot yoga if there's Nazi hunting on the menu. Are you kidding me? But then, so then he explained what he meant by that. Turns out, he and some fellow historians were going to go searching for the unmarked graves of 6 Nazi saboteurs who were captured and executed during World War II, which that's not as much fun. I did ask if maybe are they zombie Nazis, but no, they're just regular dead. So I didn't go. And I know I have to be careful making fun of Nazis because of just my face. I'm aware. I'm so white I look like I should have a podcast about Civil War mustaches. Not the Union generals, if you know what I mean. Like the Heil's coming from inside the house is what I'm saying. So but how are we still talking about these things? It's ridiculous. Oh, white guys, am I right? I am right. I'm a white guy. That's how it works. Yeah. No, not for much longer. I'm with you. I agree. We had a good run, didn't we? Yeah, it's nothing to be ashamed of. A lot, but like as a length of time is what I mean. Like it's respectable because dudes have been in charge for a long time, right? Like all of recorded history up until let's be honest, we're probably gonna milk this for another 50 years. But then after that, just a disproportionately loud and powerful minority until we're all wiped off the earth, which I don't know, given how much we've screwed up the planet, it's probably not that much longer to be. However long it's going to take for us to rationalize that, like, it was your fault. So, like a month, maybe. I don't know. not that it's been all bad, right? It was some good stuff. Ancient Greece, you know, math and like democracy and pedophilia.
Oh,
I know people have strong feelings about one of those, and like I just want to point out that you know, no matter how strongly you dislike it, math is important. Pedophilia is human garbage. I really should take that off the list. But then like ancient Rome, you know, like running water and sandals and orgies. It's good stuff. Not in that order, I think. I think those were invented. First came the orgies, because you know that was a huge hit. That was the Bieber fever of the negative first century. How do you say that? I don't know. Bieber fever was what the Romans called syphilis. So that was hugely popular. And then I think sandals were invented because somebody woke up and they were like, oh no, there's an orgy in IX minutes. Oh, Roman numeral humor. All right, my people. But like, you know, I'm wearing flip-flops. I'm never going to get across town in time. Wait a minute. I have some leather straps that I was going to take to the orgy. What if I tied these flip-flops to my legs? He made it. He made it to all the orgies. Which leads me to running water, because after a week he was like, I need a shower. This is great. In fact, all of you, we need to run water to all of your houses because you guys are gross. You need to wash your Little Caesars. So I'm pretty sure that's how that happened. It is embarrassing that we keep bragging about, you know, that's old stuff. It's like the high school quarterback who still shows up to like the 30th reunion, you know, wearing the jacket and calling people by their old nicknames and still dating 16-year-old cheerleaders. It's awkward. But we've done stuff. We've done stuff since then, right? Well, we've been phoning it in since the Enlightenment. But like cars and airplanes, that's awesome, right? And like television and the internet, that's greatest hits. You know, and then like slavery and world wars. All right, those are terrible mistakes. Those were real screw ups. But you probably wouldn't even know about them if you didn't have television and the internet. So you're welcome. All right. On a different note, thank goodness, I know. Quarantine's getting weird. Quarantine. So this happened. So I'm sharing space, tiny space with my girlfriend. And I was in the bathroom doing, you know, bathroom stuff. And she asked me a question and I answered. I don't even remember what the question was, but there was a pause. And then she said, oh, I thought you were eating a hoagie on the toilet. What did you just say? What? Okay, look, I know stuff's getting weird, but one, I hope that society has not collapsed to the point that we're eating hoagies on toilets. That's not okay. And second of all, if you are going to eat on the toilet, finger foods and only in an emergency. If you see somebody eating a hoagie on a toilet, you need to call 911. All right. Thank you so much. Black Lives Matter. Thank you, Stacey and Capital Cider House, for keeping us sane.
Woo! Woo! Thank you, everyone. Keep it going for Jake McOwen, please. Woo! All right, everyone. Up next, very excited to welcome this performer. Very, very funny. Please make some noise for Lauren Smith.
Woo! Hey, guys. So I am not a white guy, and I am Gen X. But I've had a child, so like Walter, I had to protest in the suburbs so I could pee. Yeah, I am a 50-year-old single mom. And I got to tell you, oh, thank you, Stacey. Yeah, 50 is not what I thought it would be. It's not, guys. I thought I would have money by now. and I don't. I thought someone would love me by now, and single mom. On the other hand, I thought I would be so much uglier by now. See, when I was growing up, the only woman over the age of 25 on TV was on this show called Three's Company. You familiar?
Yes.
Yeah, Mrs. Roper. So I thought I would have a full-on helmet hair and a muumuu by now. And I don't, which is good. I also thought I would have a Mr. Roper by now, and I don't. And if you see this show, you know that's good too, because, yeah, oh, you have. Yeah, the last thing my self-esteem needs is some wormy little guy in a Hawaiian shirt who would rather spy on a 20-year-old bimbo than be with me. But I am single, so if anyone wants to buy me a Metamucil after this chat, Amazon does deliver. And as I mentioned, I am a broke single mom. So in the before time, when I wanted to invest in makeup, and yes, I used the word invest. You guys on this comedy show realize that the average woman spends $3,756 a year on makeup. That is enough to lease a Honda Accord. Which I guess is kind of fitting, since I'm hoping to find someone to give me a ride. Anyway, in the before time, back when the biggest risk was the non-embarrassing kind of herpes, I used to test drive at Sephora. And there was this lipstick that all the celebrities wore to the award shows this year called Pillow Talk. Now, guys, it has been a very long time since there's been anyone to talk to on my pillow. Yeah, if I had known this was going to happen, I would have been so much naughtier last winter. And you guys all, like, most of you are well adjusted enough that you're not quarantining alone. So no one else is feeling my pain. But believe me or not, most comics completely relate. Wow, you guys are all really well adjusted, come to think of it. Anyway, back to the lipstick. I thought it might help, but it was $34 plus shipping these days. Now that is a lot for one product. To put this into perspective, I currently have 11 different products going on my face, which is why men have to buy dinner. Because no matter how much he spends on me, it's not going to be as much as I spent on looking like this. Not even if I buy appetizer and a dessert. $25 trial size in my cart at Sephora. And that's when the emails started. Bing! Spend $25 at Sephora and get a free rose oil gardenia and monkey spunk serum.
Oh, oh, oh.
And for the one of you who just acted like monkey spunk was a completely normal beauty product ingredient, I get ya. Those naughty movie stars have beautiful skin everywhere. But then the emails got needy. Dancing Post-it notes. Bing! You left me in your cart. Bing! Please, in all caps, don't forget about me.
God.
Bing! Don't you want me anymore? Sounded way too much like the messages I leave my ex. And when I ignored them, just like he ignores mine, then they got scary. Bing! Who do you think you are? See, you're not hot enough for pillow talk anyway, you pesky puppy. Michelle Williams wore pillow talk the award shows. It's for her, not you. Michelle Williams, the girlfriend on Dawson's Creek, the wife in The Greatest Showman, the wife of the dead guy who got the Academy Award for Joker after he OD'd. Idiot. And you've never been hot enough to be defined through men. Only hags have wives that pass the Bechdel test. Oh my God, and I don't care if you laugh at that. That's for me. See? Yeah, sweetheart, the best you're ever going to do is some incel Comic-Con escapee. Yeah, who knew pillow talk would turn into stalking? They should have called it Fatal Attraction Online. And I think I've gone over my time. Thanks so much, Stacey.
Woo! Oh yeah, everyone, keep it going for Lauren Smith.
Woo!
Okay, everyone. Up next, very excited to welcome this performer. Please make some noise for the very funny Side D, everyone.
Woo!
All right, thank you, Stacey. Lauren was talking about makeup and skincare products. It's a nice segue about something I want to talk about. I don't know if you guys saw, but the beauty industry actually solved racism this past week. They solved racism by getting rid of their skin whitening products. Well, technically, they didn't get rid of it. I mean, they just rebranded it, right? But they solved racism. They replaced, what they did was they replaced the word whitening with the word glowing. So now they're not skin whitening creams, they're skin glowing creams, which is perfect, right? Like I've been waiting all these years and I can finally start using these things. I'm ecstatic. I don't know if you can tell from my voice. No, but I'm not surprised, man. I just want to know who the hell these companies have in their marketing divisions, right? Like, what kind of a solution is that? That's like if the Washington Redskins decided to rename their team and the name they picked was the Washington Christopher Columbuses. Like that freaking misses the point, and it's the same problem as before. Anyway. No, I hope Washington Redskins don't rename their team to Washington Christopher Columbus. But you never know. 2020, anything might happen. Like Kanye just announced he's running for president. Did you guys see that?
Yep.
Yeah. Kanye West is running for president, and I mean, people are saying that this is because, you know, now anyone thinks they can run for president. There is no basic requirements. There are no required qualifications. And I think that's false because clearly, obviously, to run for president, you need to be predisposed to going on rambling, incoherent rants. So yes, there is a requirement for running for president of the United States of America, and that is borderline insanity. And of course, a history of sexual harassment helps if you're a major party candidate. That's what I can deduce from all this. I don't know why Obama went to all that lengths of getting a fake birth certificate. When he just needed a history of sexual harassment. But whatever. I can't wait for Kanye's education plan. It may not work initially, but after a few years of problems with college dropout and late registration, we might finally get some good graduation. Okay. I think Walter is familiar with Kanye's discography. Yeah. Well, so, I mean, it's at least better than Betsy DeVos's education plan, right? Like Betsy DeVos, we all know, was, I don't know what she was, but she's related to the, she's related to the family that owns Amway, right? The multi-level marketing firm. And her education plan was pretty much inspired by that. Her initial education plan, which, like, thank God it didn't go through. Her initial education plan was to get rid of all public school teachers. She wanted to get rid of teachers because teachers are a waste of public dollars, right? And then after you got rid of teachers, in each school, one kid will do all the learning and he'll pick two other kids to teach, who in turn will pick two other kids to teach. And eventually all the kids will teach each other how to sell drugs. Because that's what kids do when there are no teachers around. Anyways, the election, I mean, some people are saying, well, we are spoiled for choice, clearly. Some people have some criticisms of Biden. And I think there are some fair criticisms, but one criticism I won't accept, one critique I won't accept, is that Biden is washed up and he's not fit for the presidency because he's washed up. He is not washed up. He's only 78, which means next year he's going to be in his prime.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
That's a mad joke. 79 is a prime.
Oh my God.
Oh, man. So last month, I think we all learned again that Starbucks is racist. Like, how many more examples do we need to know that Starbucks is racist? Like, by now, the writing should be on the wall. Like, okay, think about this, right? Starbucks is so racist. They're so freaking racist that they have a vanilla ice latte instead of a Biggie Smalls latte. Like, why? Eight wrappers and you want a vanilla ice. I don't know. So it seems like the states are slowly reopening now. I know Maryland, where I live, is reopening. It's in phase 2. The burning question I have, which is in everyone's minds, is that in what phase does the Trader Joe's sampling station reopen? Like, how am I supposed to pick which flavor of yogi tea I want without a sampling of 6 cups of coffee? Yeah. Lockdown's been brutal though. I'm really getting bored. I don't know what to do. So I signed up for the Neil deGrasse Tyson Masterclass. Yeah, there's the Neil deGrasse Tyson Masterclass, for those of you who don't know. I signed up so that I can master the art of eloquent buzzkillery. But the lockdown's really getting to me. And here's how I know, right? Here's how I know. Because this week I got severely microaggressed by Windows 10 screen backgrounds. Like, I can't go nowhere, Bill Gates. What the fuck? There's a pandemic going on. What's with all these backgrounds? Yeah, I'm going to end there. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Yay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. Everyone, keep it going for Side D.
Woo!
All right. Everyone, up next, very excited to welcome our next stand-up comedian. Please make some noise for Jeff Hysen, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
Woo!
Thank you. My Quarren beard and I are here for you. Thank you. This is much more exciting than anything that's been going on recently. Last night, my wife and I put on the Roomba and spent the next hour following it around the house. Things got weird when the Roomba tried to mate with the vacuum cleaner. That's okay. Love is love. The other night, I put in a frozen pizza, and my wife and I guessed what is the proper temperature for preheating the oven. Higher, lower. We spent 15 minutes doing that. That's what passes for entertainment. But thank you for being here. One of the older comics around, I had a show not long ago, and before it began, the other comics were discussing the effects of drug use on comedy. They asked me my opinion, and I said Lipitor has no effects. I had another show, and the DJ asked me what song I wanted to hear while I walked on stage, and I said Uptown Funk, sung by Bruno Mars, because that's my jam. And he played Tiny Dancer by Elton John. Not exactly the same. I asked him why. He said, "You're old. I thought it was more appropriate." Oh, that's not nice. During this period, people are reaching out to old friends or old acquaintances. Well, a guy from high school wrote to me, said he wanted to talk to me on Zoom. And that's been a long time, but I remembered that he was a dick. But it's been a long time. People change, I've changed, so we had that talk. And let this be a lesson to you. He was still a dick. People don't change that much. When you get older, change happens fast. My son said, "Dad, I don't like your cisgender attitude and heteronormative expectations." I only asked him what time it was. Things really change. I was talking with a young female comic. And as she was talking, I stared at her shirt, trying to figure out what it said. And perhaps I looked for a little too long because I saw that she was looking at me, looking at her shirt. So I said, "I'm sorry, I was just trying to read your shirt." And she said, "It's okay." And I said, "No, it's not okay. A man shouldn't make a woman feel uncomfortable." And she said, "I don't think of you that way." Oh, I'm too old to be pervy anymore. Montgomery Mall just opened. Well, that's good. Except they took away all the chairs. Where am I going to sit down? There's no reason for me to go anymore. When my wife and I go to the mall, I have one item to buy, and that's it. So I'll go pick out a shirt, and then I'll show it to my wife, and she'll tell me if I like the shirt. And then when I'm done, I'm finished. Once my wife said, "There's a sale on shoes." And I said, "I only came here for a shirt." Mission accomplished. And then I go sit in a chair, but they took away those chairs. These are the special chairs for husbands. The bored husband's chair. Sometimes a single guy sits in the chair and I have nowhere to sit. So I have to go over to him and say, "You're sitting in my chair. Go follow your girlfriend around the mall. Tell her how cute she looks in those 5 pairs of shoes that look the same to you. Pay your dues. That's my chair. And I have a nap to take." Without vacations, we're staying closer to home. Well, my favorite place to go, you're not going to believe this, is the county dump. I mean the recycle center. Now, men love it, women hate it. I talked about it so much that my wife said that she wanted to see it. So I took her to it's the county dump, and I took her there, and I'm showing it to her like it's a college campus. And here are the electronics, and over here are the light bulbs. And she said, "Get me out of here." But guys go there all the time. If they put football on one of the broken TVs, men would never leave. Sometimes I bring a lunch. Now, I know that's disgusting, but stay with me. When you're done, you can just throw your garbage on the ground. Because it's all garbage. I want to go there again. The county dump. It's a refuge with refuse.
Hey.
And I've been married a long time, but I still look at other women. Well, not now. There are no other women around. But normally I do. Except for one guy I know, he says he doesn't because it's disrespectful to his wife. That's sweet. I have a nickname for him. Liar. You know that as soon as he leaves the house, his wife's watching Magic Mike. My wife was putting up a picture holding a hammer. And I said, I better stay away from you while you're holding that thing. And she looks at me cold in the eye and says, that's not how I would kill you. I said, you've thought about this? She said, it's my backup plan. And I've been married for a long time, but I've forgotten what sex is like when you're single. There's a single guy at work. He said, I can't wait to go home. My girl's going to be there and we're going to have sex tonight. And I said, but it's Tuesday. You'll see. My name is Jeff Hysen. Thank you, Stacey. Thank you, everybody. Hope to see you in person.
Thank you, everyone. That was Jeff Hysen. Keep it going.
Yay.
All right, everyone. I'm very excited to welcome our next performer. Please make some noise for the very funny Kate Blansett.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Oh, the host had spotlighted me. Yay. I am in a car right now. People ask me if I usually do this, like do comedy shows while driving, and I don't. That's actually very unsafe. I mean, how am I supposed to do a comedy show, drive, and text at the same time? I would never. Lauren was talking earlier. You were talking about pillow talk. I'm going to swipe to see your face since I'm on a phone. You were talking about pillow talk, and my version of pillow talk is actually just screaming into my pillow. Fuck, fuck, fuck. Why, God? You're also talking about like beauty standards of the beauty industry, which infuriated me this week because the same day that I spent $15 on what's called a hair mask, my boyfriend turned around and said, "What is a split end?" It's like, maybe that was just for me. Anyway, Stacey, thank you so much for doing these shows. Oh, she's not here. I'll tell her later. I was going to tell her how much I love her energy, which I do. But I can actually do some jokes, maybe. The quarantine's been okay for me because, like, I usually complain about not having enough time to, like, actually write new material. So with the quarantine, I've actually had a lot more time to complain about not writing new material. So it's given me a lot more time to do that. I've also had time to develop a new morning routine, which is nice. So I wake up in the morning and I wash my face, I dry it off, and then I look into the mirror and I say my new mantra, which is Jesus fucking Christ, Jesus fucking Christ, Jesus fucking Christ. And that's how I get my day started, to put myself in a really good headspace, you know. With the quarantine, I've been thinking about like different ways that we connect with people, and I've been writing a lot more like letters and sending them in the mail. Aww. And it's so fascinating to me that I can like scribble some words on an envelope, you know, drop it in the bucket, and then 2 days later it magically appears in my ex's mailbox telling him he probably has chlamydia. Like, that's insane. The mail is so cool. The pandemic has kind of made my dynamic with my parents a little weird, because they're not taking it as seriously as I am, and so they keep like acting out, and I keep like having to reprimand them. And they're kind of like teenagers at this point, where like my mom literally snuck out of the house last week and went to Florida with her friends. And I was so mad at her. I was like, well, I'm gonna have to punish her. So now she's grounded from my tech support for 2 weeks.
Oh no.
Oh no.
That joke.
No. Am I back?
You're back.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
You're all good.
Oh, okay. Oh no, that sucks. Let's see. Quarantine has been a little rough at some points. I did find out that my high school crush got married during quarantine. I mean, I just want to say, oh, I'm absolutely frozen. Am I here? Okay, I'm here. Anyway, I found out my high school crush got married during quarantine, and I just want to say, like, I have no hard feelings. You know, I'm very happy for them, and I wish them the best divorce lawyer that they can find when the time comes. I ran into somebody the other day who told me that the government made the pandemic up. They said that the government invented the pandemic in order to control its citizens. And I was like, no. You're thinking about religion. Okay, what else do I have? Oh, sometimes people call me dramatic. And when they do that, it just makes me want to fucking kill myself. I feel like I'm freezy, so I'm gonna tell one last joke and be done. Let's see. Oh, I'm 26, so I feel good. You know, I feel like I'm in my prime. You know, dudes are calling me all the time. They're trying to get with this. I have this one guy that will not stop calling me. And like when he calls and I answer the phone, and he's always like, "Hey, Caitlin, it's Steven from Navient. I'm calling in regards to your student loans." Like, calling. Oh, Steven, you have no game. It's never going to happen. I'm not going to pay these loans back. Okay, I'm going to end it there. Thank you so much, Stacey. Thanks for doing these shows.
Thank you, everyone. Keep it going for Kate Blansett. Woo! Everyone, up next, we have the headliner for our stand-ups. I'm so excited to welcome this individual. Please make some noise for the very funny Jason Fleagle, everyone.
Thanks, Stacey. Thanks, Capital Cider House. This is fun. Oh my God, we're going into month 4 of the pandemic. I can't even cope anymore. It's too much. Do you know, like, this pandemic has now officially lasted longer than Nicolas Cage's marriage to Lisa Marie Presley. So, you know, give it up for that. I got to be honest with you, this is not even my favorite pandemic. In fact, doesn't even crack my top 5 pandemics, if I'm being perfectly honest. And I'm glad you asked. I will tell you my top 5 pandemics. Number 5, of course, is the cholera pandemic. I like that one just because there's this guy, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, wrote this book, Love in the Time of Cholera, won the Nobel Prize for Literature for that. So we got great literature out of that pandemic. The only literature we're getting out of this pandemic is Tiger King. I don't. Number 4 favorite pandemic, of course, Beatlemania. Not as deadly. No one actually died from that pandemic. Oh, no, wait, I take that back. John Lennon. No one besides John Lennon died from that pandemic. Number 3 is the Spanish flu, of course. We heard a lot about the Spanish flu at the beginning of this pandemic. I like the Spanish flu because, like, Spanish, it makes everything sexy, right? Like Antonio Banderas. It's just like, you know, regular rice, not very sexy. Spanish rice, so sexy, we're going to have to charge you extra if you want that as your side. Regular fly, gross. Spanish fly, still gross, but also sexy somehow. You know, regular flu, like you've got coughing and sneezing and aches. Spanish flu, sexy coughing and sneezing and aches. So, you know. My number 2 favorite pandemic is, of course, the AIDS pandemic. That was quite a pandemic. That one was so bad, people didn't know what to do about it, so they just made a quilt. That was the best anyone could come up with for how to combat that pandemic. Killed a lot of people and also killed casual sex completely. Like, I don't know if you guys know what a condom was like before the AIDS pandemic. Nobody did. Basically, from the time they invented the birth control pill until the AIDS pandemic, everyone was just having sex with each other constantly. So FYI, that's why your grandmother has herpes. But yeah, so the AIDS pandemic beats the current pandemic on 3 key measures. Number 1, more deaths. Number 2, more cock blocks. And number 3, more quilts. But the number 1 pandemic of all time has got to be the Black Death, right? That's, I mean, just the name alone, Black Death. That sounds like a heavy metal band, right? That's a cool name. COVID-19. That doesn't sound like a heavy metal band. That sounds like some guy who makes EDM in his parents' bedroom or something, like a childhood bedroom. I don't know, maybe that's why Deadmau5 is always wearing that mask, is to protect from the pandemic. But Black Death, aka Black Plague, aka bubonic plague, like, it's so cool it has to have 3 names. And bubonic plague, when I first heard of that, I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. I want to get a robot arm. But it turns out that's the bionic plague, something completely. But I was curious. I didn't know what bubonic meant. I looked it up. It's called the bubonic plague because it gives you swollen buboes, which sounds really hot, but it turns out buboes are just your lymph nodes, so not anywhere as hot as it sounds. So those are my top 5 pandemics. This one doesn't even make it into the top 5. But hey, before I get out of here, I just want to tell you guys about my website. So hopefully you can go check out my website. It's jasonfleagle.com. You can see how to spell my name right down there. And I'm actually not the first person to have the website jasonfleagle.com. And you might think, oh, there's a different Jason Fleagle who had that website before me. You would be wrong. It was actually a guy named Dave who had that website. Not Dave McOwen, our fellow comic, a different Dave. And he bought that website because he hated me and he wanted the whole world to know.
Stop.
And I don't know if you've ever had someone you hated, but I'm willing to guess you never had someone you hated so much that you bought their name as a website and made a website to tell everyone, I hate this guy. Dave did that. Dave, so back when he first bought it, you would go to jasonfleagle.com and it would say at the top, Jason Fleagle. In case you went to Jason Fleagle and you weren't sure what this website was about, it was about me. And then the next line was welcome, which is nice. It seems like, oh, we're in for a little treat. And then right below that, it's Fleagle the fucking asshole, which, you know, that's real whiplash from welcome, right? That's not when I hear welcome, that's not what I'm expecting to see. And you know, it throws you for a loop. And I need to pause here. I'll explain why Dave hated me so much. Dave hated me because I was getting a divorce from his sister, which, look, I'm not surprised the marriage worked out or didn't work out. We got married when I was only 22 years old, which is way too young to be making that kind of decision. Just for contrast, when you're 22 years old, they won't even let you rent a car. But they let me get married. We live in a world that let me wreck my life, but wouldn't let me wreck a Honda Civic. So that's kind of the world we're living in. So I was married to my ex for a while. It worked out for a while until it didn't. But then she's the one who asked me for a divorce. So I don't even know why Dave was so upset. It was her idea. She said she was unhappy and she wanted to go find herself. That's what she told me. I later found out she was actually having an affair with her own nephew. Yeah, that was my reaction, Kate. And look, to this day, I don't know if she ever found herself, but I will give her partial credit because she found a close relative. It's almost the same. And look, in her defense, it was 2014. Game of Thrones was super popular. Maybe she wanted to be a Lannister. I don't know. But, you know, she starts dating her nephew. They moved to Hagerstown together. And if you're not familiar with Hagerstown, it's the part of Maryland that really wishes it was West Virginia. If you want to live in Maryland and also sleep with your own nephew, move to Hagerstown. And I told that joke one time back when we were in person, and someone came up to me after the show and said, "Hey man, I'm from Hagerstown and we don't all sleep with our own relatives," which has got to be the worst flex ever. Right? Like, I'm from DC, I don't sleep with my relatives, but I also don't feel the need to go brag about it. And then at another show, I told that joke and someone came up to me afterwards and said, "Hey, some people from Washington, DC do sleep with their own relatives." And so that's actually the worst flex ever now that I think about it. But anyway, my ex and her nephew / boyfriend moved to Hagerstown together. And there's actually a point during the whole divorce where I had dinner with my ex and her nephew / boyfriend in Hagerstown in a Cracker Barrel, which has got to be just the most white trash thing ever. And look, it's 2020. I get it. Maybe I shouldn't be saying white trash. So if anyone was offended by my use of that term, you need to stop sleeping with your relatives, is what I'm saying. So I bring all this up just to point out that my ex and her brother comes from a family that really does things together. So I guess that's why he felt the need to make this website about me, where it said Jason Fleagle is a fucking asshole. It said all sorts of other things about me, and then it finished by saying again, Jason Fleagle is a fucking asshole, I guess for the symmetry or poetry of it. And then at the bottom in really tiny print is my favorite part, which said, "This website is for sale, contact Dave with offers," which I just love because I got to think, what is the universe of people who want to own jasonfleagle.com? It's pretty much me and Dave, right? Like, there's not a lot of other people out there who are looking to buy that website. He could have just reached out to me directly, but he did it this way. And now I own the website, so I guess it worked for him. But yeah, if you can go to jasonfleagle.com, see all about all the shows I'm doing, including this one. Check it out. It's got links to my Twitter and Instagram where you can follow me. And I want to thank Stacey again and Capital Cider House for the time. Thanks a lot.
Oh,
Yay.
yeah, thank you. Jason Fleagle, everyone. Thank you so much. Everyone, that was the stand-up portion of the show. We're about to do some improv. Ooh, here we go. So we're gonna make this there we go.
Great.
All right, people, here we are. We're about to do some improv. We need a word.
Parsley.
Parsley. Thank you.
Parsley.
All right. Parsley makes me think of useless things.
Useless things makes me think of myself.
What? No, that's
God.
untrue. Untrue, everyone. Not true. Hey, I didn't realize this could be matched. Side note. Myself makes me think of, you remember going into that store, Claire's Boutique?
Yes, I love
Do you
Claire's.
remember they used to do ear piercings?
Yes,
Did you get your ear pierced there?
yes,
You did? Okay.
yes. And the first time I got my ears pierced there, I didn't take care of them. And so they ended up getting infected and closing up. And then I had to get my ears pierced again in college.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Did it hurt?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I know. I never got my ear pierced there.
Oh.
I don't have my ears pierced.
At all.
No. No. I don't have any piercing or body modification.
Well, that makes it the fact that I have a tattoo,
You do have a tattoo.
which also hurt a lot. Yeah, it's on my
What
ribcage.
hurt worse, the infection or the tattoo?
The tattoo, 100%.
So the infection, was it like a mild hurt or was it like, ow?
Well, it's like when it gets infected, right? It's like it burns right here, right?
Oh,
So
gosh.
it's like, have you ever had like a small skin infection?
I don't, not that I recall, but sometimes when I get like a cut, I'll pour rubbing alcohol on it to like clean it out, and that like it's like owie, you know.
Yeah. So it's like you just have this like kind of throbbing. It's like a little hot because it's infected, and it doesn't always like hurt, but like definitely hurts to the touch, and it's not a good. That's not a good look.
No, I hear you. Okay. Cool. I think we have enough information already. So a lot of people ask me why this is my 10th tattoo that I'm going to get, and I'm going to be honest with you, since you're giving me the tattoo.
Yep.
I'm getting it because, not because I want the tattoo. I actually don't want it, but I like to feel pain, because without pain, I won't feel anything at all. I'm ready.
Okay. Well, look, I want to give you this tattoo because I want your business.
Thank you. I would like to give you business.
Absolutely. And I feel like.
And I care about you.
Yeah, I'm giving you a lot of tattoos.
You're giving me all 9 of them.
Exactly.
Number 10, please.
Okay, I'm gonna put my tattoo pen away. Can we just sit for a second?
Sure.
Yes. Look, I want to give you this tattoo.
Great.
I'm just a little concerned about your reasoning. And I just want to make sure that you're okay. Because again, I want your business.
Great.
But I do feel some obligation to make sure that you're okay.
Sometimes when, you know how sometimes you're watching the news and you're like, that's sad. I don't feel that anymore. I need to take it to the extreme. Everything I feel needs to be extreme for it to really resonate. Tattoo, please.
Okay, let's talk about your tattoo design, actually.
Okay.
So you had me sketch up. This is making a lot more sense, given what you're telling me now.
Yeah.
You wanted me to sketch out, I can't feel anything.
Yes.
Let this get infected.
Yes.
So that was like a song lyric or something.
I might turn it into a song, but no, it's not a song right now.
Okay, so do you have the intent? I'm not even gonna ask.
You don't have to ask, because yes, I have never gotten an infection, because as you know, I hate germs, and I clean everything to the point of like, it's obnoxious how much I clean. But I'm not doing that this time, because I want to feel what an infection feels like. I think that would just be the next step. If I could get really sick from this, that would be
I'm just a tattoo artist. I don't have like a code ethic.
You're not just a tattoo artist, you're a nice person.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome. Don't say
Okay, all right.
Can I please get the tattoo?
Look, again,
Please.
I really want to give you what
Then
you
why
want,
isn't this happening?
because I feel like you're not in a good place. I just need any reason from you that this is not a cry for help. Because again, I'm a tattoo artist. I'm not a doctor.
No.
I'm not a counselor. I'm not a primary school educator. I don't have reporting obligations. But I just, like, as a person, like, I give tattoos because I want people to be who they are and like themselves.
Oh.
See, so
I
like
hear
you're
what
running
you're
into
saying
my
to
own
me.
personal
I hear what you're saying
philosophy.
to me.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying to me, so I should go elsewhere.
Can you just give me
It's
a
the
reason
problem
that, like,
I think the problem is that we've gotten too close. Like if I was just coming in for my first tattoo and I said, let this get infected, I think you would just have given it to me. But we have known each other over the year and a half that I've gotten these tattoos. Maybe you feel a little obligated for me.
look, okay, you know what? You back me into a corner. I don't want you to go somewhere else because I know that I can do this tattoo well, and I'm really concerned that you want to get it infected, but I hope that you'll come back and let me, of course, treat it.
Treat it with what? What? Treat it? Treat it with what?
Because you just want to experience an infection, but then you let it go away.
I
Just
have
wait.
a plan.
Just blink twice.
What? I'm not gonna blink at all now. I want to feel the pain in my eyes. I want to feel them get tired out. I need to feel something. My eyes are already getting real tired. I'm in a lot of pain. This is so thrilling. I knew it was a good idea to leave the house today. I almost was like, nah. I blinked! Oh, damn it. I'm such an idiot. Boo. I didn't even do that. That's why I need this tattoo, don't you see? Okay, I'm gonna give you the tattoo. I just need you to come back regularly, okay? Can you do that? So here's something else I need you to do now that you've agreed to do the tattoo. Okay. Do you want me to start doing it right now? Yes. Every 30 seconds, I would love for you to just like punch me in the face. Okay. All right. So, I mean, because that's the next step, right? But can't we agree that this tattoo pen is really like teeny tiny punches in your skin? Exactly, teeny tiny. I want big. Oh wow. Owie. Ooh. You're really taking your time with it, and I appreciate it. Good for you. No, but that's what I wanted, isn't it? Okay. I wanted it to be bad. Just please tell me that this is making you happier with yourself. That's literally all I need to hear. Ask me 30 seconds. You know what I regret? What? When I was 16, I hit a deer with my car and I didn't stop. And I still think about that to this day. Oh my God. I never told you this because we usually talk about you during these appointments. So I'm selfish. No, I know nothing about you. No, it's not me now. You're on my It's gonna bleed everywhere. Wonderful. To look good. Look, I never told you this because we've never talked about me. I'm not the client, but I grew up in New Zealand and I have a really similar story, but instead of a deer, it was a sheep. It was a sheep in New Zealand. I didn't know that. I have an accent because I just don't have. I don't want to look back. I'm ashamed. So you hit a sheep with your car, and I didn't. And it died. Yeah, I assume. That's a little sadder because sheep are useful. You don't think deer are useful? No. What has a deer ever done? It hurts a lot. Hey, is this a piercing gun? Oh, don't do that. What are you doing? Have you ever been to Claire's boutique? I have more qualifications than them. I have an MBA. Don't you think I have more qualifications? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Do you want me to continue with this tattoo or not? Yes. Put it down. Do it at the same time. No, put it down. Let's just do it at the same time. What if I paid you $200 extra to let me just get this? You have no other customers here. I know. I'm like your best friend. You are. Oh, thank God. That actually makes me feel a little better. Really? Let's just do this then. Come on. Come on. If you promise to be safe. Safer than baseline. I don't know. I'm gonna put this down. I don't know if I'm a safe person. You don't have to be a safe person. I don't know if I'm a dangerous person either. Maybe I'm nothing. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I don't have a personality. Have you ever thought about that? I think my personality left me when I hit that deer. What was in this person? Maybe I should help the deer. You know, at least it wasn't a sheep though. Hey, that's mean. I was a little mean. That's because I'm a terrible person. I'm selfish. That's why I deserve this. Okay, look. I just want us to have a nice tattoo appointment. I do too. And I just want you to have this expression. Okay, is getting that piercing gonna be an expression of who you are that makes you feel better about yourself? You really just need to say yes. I just want to atone for that poor deer. Okay. Imagine how much pain the deer felt. Okay, so look, I'm suddenly on board with this because I empathize with the need for atonement. I mean, that's why, I have this giant sweet tattoo. Oh, yeah, you've shown that to me. Very nice. Okay.
And in memoriam on the
Okay.
bottom.
So there's also, besides for that, how I killed that plant, that house plant. I killed that plant.
Oh, right. You were telling me about the snake plant. They're hard to kill. I don't know how you did that.
I don't know. I kind of know.
Oh, no.
You know how sometimes you wonder, like, what if I just poured a little of my Diet Coke into the plant?
Oh.
You've never experienced it, but I experience it all the time. If I walk by a plant, I'm like, what if I just poured a little of it in there? I thought it would help.
Did you?
I didn't know, actually. That's our show. That is our show.
Oh my goodness.
Gosh, that was good. Good stuff. Thank you for your suggestions. Everyone, this has been Comedy is Calling for July 5th. Yes, I am the plant killer. And Comedy is Calling. Thank you so much for joining us today. I want to thank all of the comedians that you saw. So we had Walter Gottlieb, Lauren Smith, David McOwen, Kate Blansett, Jason Fliegel, and we had Saidi. And I think I'm forgetting someone, but you know what? I tried, everyone. I tried. You know what? No, it's not about
Jeff.
trying. It's about getting it for real. And I have the list right here, and I'm not gonna. And we had Jeff Hysen. I didn't say Jeff Hysen. That was the person I was forgetting. Everyone, that's the show for today. At this point, and we had Felicia Barnes, my improv partner. Yay. At this point, I want to also shout out Capital Cider House. We do these shows in partnership with Capital Cider House. Capital Cider House is open. They have pickup and delivery available. You can get your cider there. They have a bunch of other cool things. They have an online store. They have gift cards. They have memberships. So check them out online at capitalciderhouse.com. We really do appreciate them. We wish them well during this time. And we love them. And we miss them. And we miss our live in-person shows with them, which hopefully will resume whenever we can. It's safe to do so. We will see. But everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it. And we will see you for our next show on Friday. All right. Have a good night, everyone.